Hey, this is Scott Jones coming to you with more information. This is the second installment of my videos about planetary correspondences. Our first one was the sun. We got into that, and now we're going to get into the planet Mercury. So get ready, buckle up. Now, when you think of the planet Mercury, I want you to think of the DC comic hero, The Flash, or Quicksilver from Marvel Comics, or Hermes, with the wings on his cap and the wings on his feet. All three of these people have one thing in common, and that is speed and quickness. And when you think of Mercury, think of speed, quickness of thought, the mental. You understand what I'm saying? Have you ever heard that expression, swift as a thought? Well, if you have, think of Mercury and you got some idea of what I'm talking about. Another thing I want you to keep in mind about Mercury is communication. I want you to keep in mind coordination. And I want you to keep in mind quick learning. For one thing about Mercury, Mercury learns things fast. So in terms of magical correspondences, if you want to do a magical ritual to help you to be a better communicator, to have more eloquence, command of language and speaking, then you invoke and use the force of Mercury. If you want to learn how to coordinate something, let's say you got a bunch of things you need to coordinate, or just a few things in your personal life, and you want to be able to better arrange them, invoking Mercury in magical rituals can help that. Because one thing that Mercury does is that it stimulates and empowers the brain, and it helps you to organize information. It also helps you to adapt. For Mercury is the master adapter of the magical universe. You understand what I'm saying? Another thing to associate, we talked about Hermes, or Mercury as they call him in Rome, the Caduceus wand. And you guys look up the Caduceus wand. It's spelled C-A-D-U-C-E-U-S wand, W-A-N-D. That is the symbol for Mercury or Hermes. And when you meditate up on it, it helps you to be healed of diseases of the mind. It helps to strengthen your reason, and it also helps you to travel to places in your mind. Have you ever heard of astral projection or dream travel? Well, the planet Mercury corresponds to all that in magic. Of course, another thing that Hermes and Mercury corresponds to is what I'm doing right now and what you probably are doing in terms of making things like YouTube videos, all this other stuff to get your self out into the public. Newspapers, television stations, radio, anything that involves communicating to the masses can help. Mercury can help you in those areas. Another thing that Mercury can help you is creating a magical ritual itself. As a magician, as a practitioner of magic, have you ever sat down and said, okay, I want to do a ritual, but what all do I need? What all do I need to put together? What type of operation is this magical ritual for? What's its goal? Well, Mercury can help you with all that. Mercury can help you create different type of magical rituals. Maybe a magical ritual that you ain't read in a book or someone had told you about, but create your own magical ritual. And leading right into that, let me explain this to you. Because we'll get into this later, but we have to touch upon it now. There are things called words of power. And what a word of power basically is in magic or the occult is a word that when you speak it and hear it, awakens in you certain abilities and capacities or memories, or causes some type of reaction psychologically, spiritually, and also physically. One of the best examples is a lie detector test. A man is attached to a lie detector test, and someone tells him the name of a person he's murdered, and all of a sudden his heart beats a little faster, his blood pressure rises. This is because for him, the name of his murderer, or the name of his victim, is a word of power. He hears that word and a whole different change comes over his mindset. Or you hear the name of your enemy, somebody who's done you wrong, and all of a sudden you get mad, your blood pressure rises. Or you hear the name of someone who was a lover, someone who gave you pleasure, and your blood pressure lowers, you get relaxed, you think about happy things. That's because the names of those people have become words of power for you. Well, Mercury, the planet Mercury, can help you find out what are your words of power. What is it that when you speak it, it gets a reaction out of you? Because see, you can take these words, put them together in a magical ritual, and use it to evoke powers and instincts that you never knew you had. It also can teach you to control how you react to certain people. Whereas before, a word would make you angry or anxious. Now that word doesn't have any effect on you. Or if it does, you can control it and concentrate it. Mercury can help you with all that. Also, when we get into Mercury, we have to get into the holy archangel Raphael. There's a book of a holy book. It didn't make the main Bible. It's called the Book of Tobit, or the Book of Tobias. You need to read that because it talks about Raphael. In that book, he tells Tobias how to take the gall, liver, and heart of a fish, grind it up, burn it, and it can be used to chase away a demon, in this case Asmodee, which we'll get into that. And also it can be used to heal blindness. The Archangel Raphael knows a lot about nature, how things in nature and God's universe can be used to heal diseases. He also knows how to balance the rays, and let me explain what that means. All of us on Earth are being exposed to cosmic rays, planetary rays, energy coming down from the different planets. You understand? Some of us are being exposed to the rays of certain movements. When I say movements, I mean like political movements, religious movements. All these things ray in on our bodies, and if they're out of balance, it can cause disease and sickness. What the Archangel Raphael can do, one of the things he does, is balance the energy of those rays so that our organism is in harmony, so that there's no extreme one way or the other to cause sickness or disease. Archangel Raphael can also be used to help you see the whole picture of art, science, and religion, how they are in fact a unity. Because see, art, science, and religion do have a unifying spirit. They have one soul, how they all tie together. And the Archangel Raphael can teach you about that. Another thing that Mercury can help you with is if you're a writer, and get this, if you're a pastor or minister, because the Greek god Hermes was a messenger of the gods. See, and what that's telling us is that whenever Mercury touches something, whenever Mercury becomes a messenger for something, it can get that message across with force and clarity. You understand? Whenever you need to write something or say something that corresponds to a specific person, place, or thing, Mercury can help you with that. And also, Mercury corresponds to the 8th choir of angels. See, there are 9 choirs of angels, 9. And the 8th choir is the archangels. And these archangels can show you things in the Bible, things in art, and things in science that connect. And they can inspire groups of people to accomplish a goal. Mercury is good for that because in the spirit of Mercury, which we call Hoda in the Kabbalah, the archangels reside. So if you need help with your group, getting your group motivated, getting them to work together, invoke the archangels in the spirit of Mercury, and I think they can help you. Well, there's more to say about Mercury. We'll run into it again, but I just wanted to give you guys the basics. And I always go back to my original video, Magical Correspondences. Oh yeah, and by the way, Mercury corresponds to the metal electrum, electrum, and electrum is very good for conducting energy. Well, hey, we'll get into more later. We'll get into Mars and Jupiter and all that. Well, this is Scott Jones. See you later.